Hey everyone, I'm just going to put together a quick tutorial of how to do some stuff on Lumion. This will also serve as a bit of a test of how we might upload some videos, show you guys how to do some things with different programs. But this is going to be a quick one, put a few emails from you guys about whether you have to use Lumion. It's not a requirement, but it can help to make your project very beautiful. So I'll quickly show you a few ways we can do it. Through the My Access. A lot of you will have downloaded it, but I'm going to do it through My Access for UNSW in case any of you haven't downloaded it yet and then can't get to uni to get a copy. There is a way you can do it remotely. So I'll get rid of my face. Okay, so the My Access website is just this right here, myaccess.unsw.edu.au. If you come down here, step one is to click this. So Citrix Receiver available here. Click that, and it will come to this page. If you haven't done this before, it'll prompt you to download a thing called Citrix Receiver, which you can do. And then there's all these programs you can choose from. So we're interested in Lumion, which is this one here. So if you click on that, it'll open up and it'll open it. You say open through the Citrix Receiver, and then that'll open it. I won't do that because I've already got one open. But you can see there's a ton of programs. So if you ever feel you want to try something, you're not sure what it's like, ArchiCAD is a really popular architecture program, so is Revit. Maya is an amazing program, pretty intense, but lots of stuff you can do with it. So I want to show you a few things in Lumion quickly. So the first one is a lot of you are bringing your projects into just blank templates. There's the option to bring it into one that has a bit of context. This is a forested ones or mountain ones with river scenes, whatever. So if you feel like that would give some sort of more context and sort of your project could be situated better and something like this, I'd encourage you to use this. It's very rare we see a building ever sitting just in one spot with no context, right? And the trees are beautiful, so it sort of adds something really nice. So if you want to import one of your SketchUp models, you can import straight as a SketchUp file. Some of you have been having issues. My general advice on that is if you're doing a SketchUp model, save back to about SketchUp 15 or SketchUp 8, and they might import better. Or just save it as the most recent one and see if that works. If you're having specific issues, send me an email and we'll try to work it out. So to import a new one, you click here, which is the imported models, click import. Now I wanted to show you this because if you're working on Citrix, what it's actually doing is you're connecting to your profile at UNSW. So you're not connecting to what we have here, you're connecting to your profile at UNSW. So that's this thing right here. So by default, you'll come into this page and you won't be able to find any of the things that you normally thought were there. These are all things that are on your UNSW drive rather than your personal local drive. So if you want to change that, you come to local disk, scroll down to users, pick your user, and then this is where you're in your computer. So I could get my file from downloads, for instance. Downloads, pick it and open. That's incredibly slow to do for a big model like the one I'm going to show you. So I've already done that ahead of time. Once you're ready, once you've imported it and you hit place, and this is what you do to bring it in, you select the model and you can place that in the context then. So you drag, it should snap to natural ground level. One issue a lot of you might be having is if you've modeled your SketchUp not at the origin point, so not at the 0, 0, the red, green, and blue lines, you'll import it SketchUp and where your arrow is will be the origin point. So you might find you're putting an arrow there and your model is 400 meters sort of down the road. So if you're having troubles with that, bring your SketchUp model, sort of select everything and drag it back to be on that origin point so it imports exactly where your mouse is. So then what you want to do is just click once you're happy with the positioning. You get the option to place multiples. So if I wanted, I could have a series of these, but that's not what we're going to do today. So I'll just click out of place or hit escape, go to select. So these things down here are important: scale, rotate, and delete. They're sort of good ways that you can do some really simple things with your model. And they sound pretty simple. You can get them from pretty much what the name is, but by clicking that, being on rotate, it means that once I click on this dot, I can sort of spin it around in whatever way I want. Again, it's a pretty intense process over Citrix. Things are a bit slower, but it can still be done. Same if I click on scale. If I go there, it'll sort of prompt me to hold it down. You can see the size down the bottom to scale it. Is it 1 times bigger, 10 times bigger, 50 times bigger? I'm not going to do any of that now that you can play around with it. If you're not happy with what you got on there, click on the delete button. And you can see that one's selected. You can come up at the top here and hit delete selected objects. A few other things you can do, especially if you're bringing it into a raw file with no context, you'll want to add some nature or some context around to sort of make it more interesting. What's interesting here, say if you see here, when I click, if I'm on imported models and I go delete, I can hover over it and I can delete that thing. But if I'm selected the nature tab here, it's trying to select the trees to delete rather than the imported model here. So what you have to select both the type of model and the function you want to do. So that goes for place as well. So if you want to place one of these trees, you click place while you're on the trees and you get all these options. There's also for transport, which is going to be pretty important for the Kaiser. So sort of a Mustang looking car, you could get that. You can set things as favorites if you want, so you get a full favorites list here. That's probably more important if you're going to do a huge project. For this one, you can kind of just randomly pick things. We'll pick this car and we can place it down here. So that goes really well with my bamboo shack. And then I go click here to sort of select off it. Once I'm here, I can go in and change the color. So it might be baby blue, or I can go like a bright pink, whatever you want. You got a lot of functionality with changing that sort of stuff. You can turn the lights on if you want. You can show a driver. There's a lot of little functional stuff that works quite well. You can so when you're placing trees, again, clicking on the trees. See, now that I'm on this select, I have the option of moving them freely, moving them up, moving them down, and then typing in distances as well. So I could select this tree, for instance, and move it over to here and click, and then it will hold. But I'll go to place, and you can see there's a range of trees. There's 13 tabs of all these trees. So you can kind of pick the ones that suit for you. There's different things like different sort of nature elements, rocks, sort of to fit whatever you think will fit your design. Plants, flowers, the trees it has are amazing, especially even in the free version, it's really good. So you can add fine details, you can add people, which can be quite good. So you can have a man here and place him. Now, this is a personal issue I have. A lot of students will place people like this. That are set walking and they're still, right? So if you're going to set someone who's walking, make them walk, and I can show you how to do that quickly after this. But perhaps easier is just to set people that are standing still but still moving. That way you get some movement, you can see they're sort of looking around, but they don't look like they're moonwalking on the spot. So a few things. Use the right mouse button to pan around. Mine's sort of lagging a little bit because of doing it over the internet. You can use WASD or the forward back keys to move around. If you want to move quickly, hit forward and hold shift. That'll sort of power through and make it go much faster. Alright, so just looking back here at those guys we placed originally, I'm going to quickly show you how to make a movie of it where we can make this character look like he's actually walking rather than just sort of moonwalking on the spot. So to make a movie, click here. And then you'll get these options. So you can either add movies in from files, add images from files, or start recording, which is what we're going to do. So to record, you take photos of the frames you want to capture. So in this one, we're going to sort of capture this, move around, capture here to get the whole context in. And we might come back here, and on this one, we'll change the focal length We could either zoom in or sort of pan out because we're trying to get the whole context or come out a little bit. So our footage will look something like this, sort of turning around the space. You can see how the context is really good with the trees because there's no edge to the building. It sort of looks like it's situated in a real landscape. But there is an issue with this guy just moonwalking in place. It doesn't look right. So I'll show you how to do that. Once you're happy with the clip, hit the tick and it will sort of finish. You can choose custom styles. So it could be realistic, interior, daytime, so like a color sketch of this will make it all look grainy and sketched out. Whereas a realistic one will give you a much sort of better lighting, realistic. For this project, I would say you should all use realistic if you choose to use Lumion. Now to add an effect, when you come in, it'll probably look something like this, select clip effect. These are the really standard ones, which are good. You can do some amazingly sort of different things. You have the sun moving, have real skies, have shadow, 2-point perspective. But if you tick on show all, you get all these other ones. So God rays, got this beautiful sun coming through, volumetric light, different weather patterns, different skies, so aurora borealis at this time of year. You get different objects, cameras, all sorts of things. The one we're going to look at quickly is animation. So this is how we can make things move and do different things. There's a lot of different ways of doing it, but this one we're just going to do the move tool. To move, you just go edit. You click on a person. So that here you have their start position, and he is here. And then I go to his end position. I'm going to move him. He's walking out to the trees. So now you can see in the clip, the guy's walking off into the distance. So it's a much more interesting, intriguing clip. And you can sort of do a lot of things to sort of draw people's eye to the place he's walking. Make sure he's not going to run into something. He just misses that balustrade, so it's okay. But that's how we do the clip. When you want to render it, you can sort of send it out, hit render clip, and you'll get a bunch of different settings on the different qualities that you could do it at, different outputs. This will depend, I think, on your computer, but also whether it's the free or student version. But you can do like a 4K image at 60 frames per second. So I think this is going to be more than you'll ever need for uni. Just quickly, it's the same principle for images. So if I wanted to shoot this image of my perspective, come in at the trees, I'll click download, change the focal length here, zoom out, click on a new one, and go store camera. Then again, you can do a similar thing where you change different effects to change the way it looks. Or is it a night one that you're shooting? There's a whole different range of things you can do. I think there's just to play around with at a later date. Now I'd keep it pretty simple. So that was just sort of probably a little bit of a rough, but sort of a really quick introduction to some of the things you can do in Lumion. And hopefully that helps you guys if you have any questions, but definitely drop me an email, or probably better, post here on Teams so everyone can see if you have any issues. And I look forward to seeing your beautiful workshop showroom combinations at midnight tonight. Cheers.